the number one cause of the PSA to go up is itis, not infection, itis.
Inflammation.
I call it arthritis of the prostate, because we got arthritis. We got it in our hands, shoulders, knees, hips. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know why it gets there.
Maybe it comes from inactivity.
This year we've had 7 guys come in with itis following the COVID vaccine. It set up prostatitis, and the COVID vaccine elevated their PSA, and they came in with an elevated PSA and prostatitis. It's not infection. You don't need antibiotics. Just drink a lot of water and take you some ibuprofen. And usually you're asymptomatic. Usually you don't even know you have it.
Right.
It's kind of like if you're taking testosterone, testosterone can change the gland. In other words, the appearance of the gland on MRI, I can see with men that are on testosterone, usually, because it creates a picture that's similar to itis, but they don't know it, but it's not cancer. And testosterone will raise your PSA. It can raise your PSA.
But that does not mean... And I wish we could get this message across to all the primary care physicians and the general practitioners in the world. An elevated testosterone level does not cause prostate cancer.
No, it
doesn't. Let's say that again,
but what you do,
so that everybody understands. An elevated testosterone level does not predispose to prostate cancer.
Right. Matter of fact, Mark, we've got one dear friend of mine died of metastatic prostate cancer, and his PSA was never over 2.
Oh, God.
I mean, so there's prostate cancers that don't produce PSA. They're very dangerous. Those are the ones with the high Gleason score. That's something else we have to get into.
Yeah, we'll talk about that particular, because prostate cancer is a bad deal. Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Very few of them. Usually less.
Usually it's not, because it's so thoroughly encapsulated by this hard little chestnut of an organ that's got a thick membrane around it that keeps everything inside of it until you start running needles through it, of course. But you've got so much misinformation, and the very people who should be advocating for guys to be taking testosterone replacement therapy are running around with their hair on fire, telling everybody that no, you don't want to take testosterone. That'll give you prostate cancer. Well, you might as well say it'll give you red hair. You know, it's just absolute bullshit. And nonetheless, here we are, half of the population is subjected to this bullshit on a daily basis. And
it's sad. It's sad. You got to, if you're concerned about your prostate. Now, one thing I would recommend, if you are over 50 years old and you're going to start testosterone therapy, you do want a good MRI. That's the problem. How do you get a good MRI?
Right.
Well, who's ever going to do your MRI? You better ask them. Or they're reading about 1,000 of them a year, or they're not. First of all, you're not going to get a good one, and secondly, it's going to be read poorly. That's a problem. But as you well know in medicine, the last guy in medical school to graduate, they still call him doctor. But,
yes, sir, they do.
You gotta. So the quality of the MRI, when done properly and interpreted properly, has a 98% negative predictive value. You don't have a serious cancer. Now, most of the time, what we see is itis, and then the second thing we see is a big gland.